So there's a few key advantages to having Lucerne hay. That'll ruin your day. Good afternoon everyone. So we've got some of our lucerne on the ground. Our first ever paddock of lucerne. Cut that on Monday. Today is Friday, and I raked it this morning, and we're going to go bale it now that the cool air's coming in, or about to come in. I'll show you what I mean when we get down there, but let's get down there. Alrighty, so we've just come down here to the paddock of lucerne. This paddock's about 10 hectares, and I've just going for a little bit of a walk. So when you're making hay, one of the most important things is trying to keep all the leaf on the plant. And when you cut the hay, it's got a lot of moisture in the stalk, and so we cut this on Monday. It's now Friday, so what we had to do was let all the moisture of the stalk and the leaf go out of it, and that's what we call cured. That's when the hay's cured. And now it's about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're just waiting for a cool change to come in, and just for a little bit of moisture to come back into the plant, so that when we start baling it, there's no leaf coming off it. Because you think if it's real dry and brittle, the leaf's just going to fall straight off it. So, but that's actually holding quite well. We're about an hour from the coast, and so in the summertime we get a bit of a sea breeze coming in. So it's been clear all day, and this has only come over in the last half an hour. That's what we call the sea breeze, and it's a cooler air. And so what's happened is the moisture's come back in with that air, and it's actually holding the plant really well. And I can't see hardly any leaf falling off it. I mean, this lucerne is a bit stalky. It's pretty stalky, simply because the reason it wasn't cut earlier is simply because of the weather. That has just been the battle all year. If you saw my earlier oat and hay video, it's just been the battle this whole season, and we've had this is the first week, I think, full week of just full sun that I've seen nearly all summer. I think we've had a few short stints of it, and then, you know, but this week it's been, what are we up to, 5 or 6 days consecutively of sort of 30 degrees, and I don't know that we've had that at any point during this summer, which is pretty unusual, but that's just the year that it is. So you can see we came in the gate down there, but I just came up to this area because it's a lot better than, there's sort of half a hectare in that corner where the gate is that's not real flash, and so it wouldn't have given me a very good idea of what's happening with the hay. Not sure what's going on down there, whether it is fairly sandy in that corner. Maybe that's it, maybe the lucerne's not getting enough moisture, or possibly the soil's lacking something, but it shouldn't be. It's had soil tests and everything, but it might fill in now that we've cut it and got all the weeds out of it. So you can see there's hardly any leaf falling off it there. So I think we're pretty good to go. We may as well get straight into it. Just got a few settings to change on the baler, and I'll walk you through that and show you what we do. So just the paddock name, so that I know how many bales we get off this paddock. So change the bale size. I was doing 4-foot bales, 120 centimeters last night, but we've come back home, and so we want 5-foot bales back here. I'll explain why in a little bit. That's 150 centimeters, and that wraps density, we'll bump that up a little bit. Hey, it's all good. then we wrap the bale. So that's a pretty heavy bale. So they're 5 foot, which is 150 centimeters, depending where you're from. So you can see as we're going along, those 2 grey bars in the middle of the baler screen there. So that's telling me if one side is packed tighter than the other. So you can see there that I need to fill the right side of the baler up more, which is what I'm doing. I'm driving so that I make an even bale. So now it wraps it. You can see the net wrap going around and around. Then we just eject it. And where we go again. That'll ruin your day. Alright, good morning guys. You would have seen last night we had a little bit of an issue with the baler, and what's happened is this cord, when I've opened the back tailgate up, this has come down and it's jammed this hose oil line and caused it to split and lose all its pressure. And so without that line intact, I can't get any density in the bales. So instead of having say a 400 kilo bale, I can only get 200 kilos in there. And so I went and picked up a hose this morning, and what we've got to do is repressurize the system. Don't know how interested you are. It's a closed circuit, which means that there's always oil in the lines, but because that hose is split, all the oil's come out, so we've got to put oil back in there now. And we're just going to run a line from the tractor, and then we've got to bleed the system. So we'll do that, and hopefully we'll be able to get baling again. So this is the line that broke, that's split. So it's all on the computer nowadays, so I don't really need that gauge. I know roughly where it's got to be to keep it in the green. You can see the gauge up there. So until I can get this hose fixed, this is like there's a valve here, so this is the line that runs back to the gauge. There's a valve in here, and so I can just take it off and there's not going to be any oil come out of there. So I'm just going to repressurize it and then get this baled, because this is probably provided no more phone calls, this will be the last bit of hay for a while, I think. So it'll only be loose and left anyway, so I'll get the hose fixed and then we'll do this all again. But for now I'm just going to run without the gauge. One blade. Oh, that dust is bad. That's much better. Can't even push that over, as opposed to this one. Good. So when I was talking about moisture last night, because we had to come down and bale it last night when it cooled off because of knocking the leaf off. But today, see, today was 30, yesterday was 30 degrees, whereas today I think the top's about 20, so it's nice and cool. So I think we're going to keep going and get into it and bale it all up. So there's a few key advantages to having Lucerne hay in terms of feed. It's a good source of both energy and protein. It's pretty palatable to the sheep. So when we like to give our stud Paul Dorset ewes a bit of Lucerne hay while they're lambing, it just gives them, as I said, a good source of energy, a little bit of a top up, just keep them going in that stressful time, which is lambing. In terms of the plant itself, it's a legume, so it fixes atmospheric nitrogen and converts it into a form that the other plants and itself can take up and use, because nitrogen is a key nutrient that the plant needs for normal growth. Every plant needs nitrogen, so it's pretty drought tolerant, so it can be grown in most conditions, up to, I think it's sort of 700 mil rainfall, right down to 350, I think. So it's great in terms of that. In terms of stress during a drought, you know, it doesn't need much rain to keep it going, because it's got that long, deep root system. So yeah, that's just a few reasons why it was pretty exciting year having our first crop of lucerne, because there is a lot of advantages to it. So we'll put this hay away and use it during the winter when we don't have a lot of grass growth. And as I said before, put it with lambing ewes to just top them up. So I think I said yesterday when we first started baling that it was going through a set of knives. So these are the knives here. So it's cutting them. That's how wide it's cutting the stalk of this lucerne. See if I see how it's all sort of in shorter lengths. So it just makes it a bit more palatable for mainly the sheep. The cattle are pretty good, they'll eat most stuff, but the sheep are a bit more fussy, so that's why I'm cutting it into these lengths, just to make it a bit more palatable. That's the only reason. "66 bales." So I did 46 5-footers, and then I did what's that, 20 of the smaller 4-footers, so that's good. Now we'll take them back and stack them in the shed, if there's room. That's another reason I did 5-foot bales too, because if they have to sit outside, there'll be less wastage on top and there'll be more good hay in the middle. Whereas if you're doing all 4-footers, obviously there's more wastage on more bales and less good hay in the middle, so if that makes sense. But no, that's good. That's a job good done. It's really resilient stuff. Been away contracting haymaking all week with lucerne, and it gets run over when it gets mown, then it gets run over with a tractor raking it, and then baling it, and then trucks and tractors on it carting the hay. And it's still, like, this was cut on today's Saturday, it was cut on Monday, and it's already, look at all the little green leaves that are shot just in that time. It's just incredible stuff. So we'll hit this with a pass of fertiliser, hopefully in the next couple of days. It's meant to rain on Tuesday, so if we can hit it with fertiliser before the rain gets here, that'll be good, and can start growing again and doing its thing, and hopefully in a number of weeks we'll be able to put some lambs on here and fatten them up. So no worries, guys. that's going to be the end of another one, so we'll catch you in the next one. See ya, bye.
Just think of the days that we have let go to waste its time.